Welcome to a much needed update on Project Super 8. You may be wondering why I'm replacing the coilovers when the Evo already has some. Stay tuned to find out. As many of you know, the trusty Evo has been put away in storage and now it's finally back for the summertime. And one of the biggest gripes that I've had with this car, I shouldn't call it a gripe, but inconveniences, is that the suspension is just a tad too stiff for street use.
He means a lot too stiff.
Yeah.
It's stiff. It's like fillings rattling loose stiff.
Yeah, and that's because we're running a set of Jersey Pros, which are really a track-oriented suspension. And they're fantastic on track. And when I had this car in California, the streets down there are much smoother than the battered Canadian roads.
Yeah, true.
So it wasn't as noticeable and as bad, and I've been meaning to get around to putting on a more street/track oriented suspension, and we'll show you what we're going to be running with in a bit. But first, we wanted to give you a bit of a, are we going to call this scientific?
Well,
I mean, it could be, but
it's 50-50. So
it's better than just relying on our butt dynos.
Yeah, exactly. So we found an app called VR, it's an NVH app. So it measures noise, vibration, and harshness. We're going to start with the accelerometer app, which will tell us how bouncy the ride is as we go down the street. And I'm also going to see how hard it is to drink my large steep tea double-double on this ride, you know, if I'm bouncing around and spilling it all over my nice Volk racing shirt. And then if it's easier to do that with the new suspension. So little science, little non-science. Let's go for a rip.
We'll reset the values.
Yeah, all right. Here we go. So it's got an X, Y, and Z axis. We'll just tell you what all the max values are, and you can decide for yourself if we're insane or not for trying this. But
yeah, I'm sure someone's going to complain about our scientific method here, but we're trying.
There's another app.
Rather than just saying butt dyno.
Yeah, exactly. There's another app you can buy that's $280. That's apparently more sciencey, but we don't want to spend $280.
The Academy budget doesn't have $280 for an app.
We've got steep T budget, but we don't have a $280 app budget.
So right away you can feel like on a smooth road, this is a pretty smooth road here.
Yeah.
It feels good.
It feels okay, but over like cracks and seams, it kind of crashes over those.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest complaint about it is just the crashing.
Yeah. And I'm definitely, you know.
See, it's very jouncy.
Yeah.
You can just feel it.
I will tell you what my son calls this car. My oldest son has autism, so his language is not fully developed. And he calls this the bouncy car.
Oh, see?
Yes.
Even he knows.
Yes. He says, oh, bouncy car is funny. Bouncy car is funny. And as far as our data goes here, you can see our max. Oh, geez, I'm spilling tea. My max x-axis is 0.62. My max y-axis is 0.26. So you can see where we're at for bounciness.
Oh, here come the railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah, this will be good. This will be good. All right, I'll try to drink my tea over the railroad tracks.
Okay, I'm going at 60 kilometers an hour here.
Putting my face on the line here. Oh, no, I didn't have the courage to do it. Well, it actually wasn't that bad, was it? So railroad tracks did spike our max up to 78.
There you go.
So you know what? We'll have to come back and do the railroad tracks
We're
again.
going to do the same route.
Yeah. More quick jack excitement, everyone.
See how this works. Oh, yeah. Damn, I'm liking this a lot.
Pretty handy.
Look at that. If you're an avid fan of our channel, I'm sure you know how coilovers are removed, and the Evo is pretty much, like most of them, pretty standard. We've got 3 nuts that need to come off the bottom or at the top of the pillow ball mount, and then 2 nuts and bolts right here, a brake line, and I think this is the ABS sensor.
Yep.
So we're gonna pop that out and then get to installing our coilovers.
Speaking of coilovers, these are our Fortune 510s. We were actually thinking of going with 500 series because I've tested those on a few cars and they're really comfortable on the street. But when Pete was talking with them, they really wanted us to try the 510s on this car because although these are really meant more for the track, they say that because of the ultra digressive nature of the valving, you can actually put them to full soft and they'll have a really nice ride quality on the street. So they kind of see these as like a hybrid setup, good on the street, but also good on the racetrack. So we're gonna test the street part of that theory and see how comfy these are on the street. We should mention the JRZs are, what are they, RS1s? So
RS1s, yeah.
They're
single way adjustable.
One way adjustable. And the spring rates are pretty much identical to our Fortunatos. They're like 500 front and rear. So we're not going to see any ride quality difference based on the spring rate, which is actually interesting because this is going to tell us how effective Fortunato's ultra-digressive valving is and if it actually will soften the car up on the street. I should mention while Pete's folding this all up that all of Fortunato's coilovers are fully customizable, so you can choose your spring rates. They'll help you choose spring rates, so they actually have like a fact sheet that you fill out, tell them what tire you're running, what aero you're running, all types of things that would affect what tracks you run on, all things that would affect spring rate choice. And they'll help you choose a spring rate, or you can just say, hey guys, I want to run a 12K front, 9K rear, and they'll valve the shocks accordingly, and they'll send you a valve, a shock dyno sheet to prove that they valved it for those spring rates. So it's a fully customizable setup.
Or you can be like me and say, hey guys, I just want something that's comfortable for the street and I can use on the track.
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
What Pete's admitting in a roundabout way is that he got lazy and he just said, send me your off-the-shelf setup, which is 9K springs front and rear, and he should have said, guys, send me the 7K springs. I want a softer ride on the street. But he didn't do that. Because he was in a rush. He was rushing to like blow up another SR motor in the S14.
That is true.
It's always a rush around here.
It always is.
All right, buddy.
We're pretty much done here.
Time to move on to the rear, huh?
Yeah, I've got 2 bolts to tighten. I think these guys need to be tightened to like 120 foot-pounds.
123.
123. Well,
yeah.
Wow, that's
plus or minus 7 foot-pounds, in case you're wondering.
That is a lot.
Yes.
So we'll crank those down, and then yeah, let's move to the back. But before that, show them how cool these coilovers look.
Yes.
The polarizing green and blue.
They have all the colors of the rainbow.
It's pretty damn neat.
Yeah. I think the blue is meant to kind of like match their 510 sticker design.
Yeah. They're color coded for performance.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get much simpler in the rear. There's 1 nut and bolt on the bottom holding the shock in and 2 nuts up top. The only little catch here is that I would have to take the sway bar off to kind of have everything droop to pull it out, because as you can see, the coilover, the top mount here is just jammed up.
Yeah.
Up in the top here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but
really, but
so
they can imagine.
Yeah. There is a good technique of doing this, and I think
it's easier with 2 people, Pete. I could jump in there if you need.
Oh, I just got super strength, man. Look at that.
Oh, yes.
All right. So it is easy.
There you go.
2 nuts, nut and bolt, and you're good. Here we go. Full soft. Actually, what I'm going to do is 1 click away from full soft.
Yeah, I don't like to run anything at the full end of either range.
Yeah.
So those are 24 way, or they have 24 positions on the damper adjustments. We're going to run them at full stop on the street just like we did with the JRZs.
Yeah, they were set to full soft. And is this at the right ride height?
No, I don't set the ride height yet. Yeah. So I'll take some measurements. We'll set that. Then you can slap it in there.
Now the moment of truth. Can I get these back in?
That's right. He talked a big game about how strong he was.
With the same
Let's see if he can get it in by himself here. Do you have the power, PT? And don't knock the car off the quick jump.
I do. They're in.
She's in the hole?
In the hole.
All right, I'm going to go see what we got over here.
There you go.
Oof. Yeah, you didn't lie. I'll even put a nut on here for you. That's just how I roll. All right.
Good.
I am the nut master. We've got our science tools ready to go. Car's all aligned and ride heighted and all that good stuff. Let's go see what we got.
We are back at the beginning of our video, but now we're Fortune 510 equipped.
Yeah.
So you ready?
I'm ready. Got my app ready, got my tea ready. Let's go for a rip.
Let's put this on and let's...
Gently, so I don't give it any high readings. Let's just reset it.
Oh yeah.
Reset.
I feel like we gotta always reset it.
All right.
Ooh, Feels smoother, my butt dyno.
Yeah, it does feel a little smoother for sure.
See there?
Yeah, it's not as harsh. It's still sporty. It's not Cadillac soft.
I was hoping to have sporty.
Yeah, but over these seams, remember on these seams before it was like really harsh? Now it's much quieter and more compliant over those seams for sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's an improvement.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is a win. I know we're trying to do some scientific testing.
Yeah, I'll try
I can
to
already tell. See, like, it's not as jouncy. Doesn't have like those.
Exactly, it's not doing that big movement.
Yeah.
Over the bumps, it's sort of soaking them up
more. And it doesn't
more.
have like that crashing.
Yep, no crashing.
Which is kind of crazy because we're on a smooth road.
We are on a smooth road.
Yeah.
Here,
I'm gonna hit a bunch of these holes here. Oh yeah, I can still hear clunking.
Yeah, but it does soak those up in a much less dramatic way.
Yeah, we're not, like before. I remember it was like.
Yeah, it would really hit you hard.
And I know it's hard to show this all on video and whatnot, so you gotta kind of take our word for it.
Yeah.
But I think
it is definitely more compliant.
Yeah, and
it's not like you know, night and day softer, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I was gonna say, considering the spring rates are exactly the same.
Yeah, that is impressive. Because the only difference is the dampers.
Yeah.
So that's
it's the valving of being able. I guess the way the JRZs are set up, really from like soft to hard, could potentially be that it's for the racetrack.
Yeah, they're operating in that high-end bracket.
Exactly, really. Rather than kind of being at where you want to be able to use it on the street a lot.
And if you jump on Fortunato's website and you look at the way their ultra digressive valving works, it is quite different than what you might see from a more motorsports oriented valving. So it gives you sort of that broader range of adjustability. You can really have quite a lot of compliance at softest setting, and then when you crank it up stiff, it'll behave more like the JRZs would.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to set these sort of like in the middle or upper third of the range, it would feel like the JRZs. But because they have that ability to really turn them down, we're getting this compliance on the street, which is pretty nice.
And so far, our max on the x-axis is 0.35.
Yeah.
And then Y is
17, which is that's about half of what we were seeing. In fact, we were seeing 68 max until we hit the railroad tracks.
Or was it before the railroad tracks?
That was before the railroad tracks. We were seeing 68, which is almost exactly double on the x-axis. And I think the y-axis we were seeing 35, so again, almost double of what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
So that's an impressive improvement. Like, I don't know how that correlates. I can't say we're 50% more compliant, but the data is saying there's a measurable difference.
The data backs up our butt dyno.
Yeah, it does.
For the most part.
Exactly.
I think that's what we're really looking at.
And the tea drinking is definitely a little easier too.
Yeah. Here we go.
Oh, that was a lot better.
All right,
wow.
so it says
57 and a 15. So, yeah, that's.
There you go.
There's no doubt it's more compliant.
Slow.
Don't smack it. Don't smack it. All right. There you go. Internet. 57 was our max on the X, and I think our Y only went up to 15, where before it went up to like, I don't know, 50 or something. So anyway, I think this does prove that what we're feeling is real, and that it does ride, I think, significantly, measurably better.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think, we'll report back maybe before the track test.
Yeah, you know what? That's
a
great point. I'm going to be driving for about a week or 2 weeks before the racetrack, so that's when we'll give you the final update on the street driving, and then we can take it out for a spin on the track and see how they behave. Here we are at Toronto Motorsports Park, TMP. There's a crazy drag nitro weekend going on, so a ton of drag cars, but there's a bunch of us here to do some lapping, and I am ready to test the Evo. I want to report back quickly. The street driving has been good. The car definitely feels softer. I will say it still does crash over bumps. So at high speed on the highway, if you hit a pothole, it's still very jarring, but that's just Evo and the spring rate and all that jazz. So I don't think that's something that you can fix unless you go to some super soft coilovers. But nevertheless, I am happy with the coilovers. So let's go out on the track. But actually, before we do that, Dave, I'll let you dial in the suspension for me. We'll stiffen it up a bit, and you can tell people the reasoning to do that and all that fun stuff.
Since Pete doesn't know which way to turn the knobs, it's a good thing.
I'm just lazy.
The king
You know
of the
me,
knobs
DP.
came with him. I just changed the setting that I had on it, so I'm gonna have to go back to 0. But You tried them full soft on the street, so we're gonna try them like halfway to full stiff in the front. I'll go more aggressive in the rear since this track is pretty bad for inducing understeer, so we'll try to get some rotation going with more stiffness in the back. So this is the part where I count to 12, and after that, it's the part where Pete goes and rips some, can't call it tech, can you? What do you call it when you rip it on Evo?
Turbo, bro.
Rip some turbo.
Okay.
Rip
some turbo.
Let's go engage some boost.
That's right, and I should also mention, this car is kind of track spec. I put the wing back on. I've got my Graham Lights wheels on here with Advan Neoma tires.
Since Pete's got a very expensive engine in this thing and we don't want to blow it up at the track, we've decided to use some Torco high octane accelerator, which is a race gas additive. So you can put it in your 94 octane like we have in this 5-gallon jug here. And if we put in the full 32-ounce bottle, we gain 14 points of octane. So that'll take this up to a 108 octane, which will give Pete tons of knock prevention.
That's right.
It's a good
safety measure, right?
Safety measure, exactly. You can mix in less if you only want to go to 100 or 98 octane, but we're going for the full shebang on it. So we'll mix it up in here, dump it in the tank, and Pete should be ready to go.
Holy smokes, this thing moves. I forgot how fast this thing is. Holy moly, people. Yeah, suspension feels great. My goodness, feels really good. Oh, yeah, the brakes are good. Well, what can I say? I mean, there you go, there's a little bit of tire noise. The car does feel good, man. It rotates exceptionally well. There's a little water there, but yeah, there we go. Now it's starting to rotate. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I could get on so early here. Well, almost missed a shift there. Yeah, it feels good. Definitely wants to rotate really well. Well, I'm not going to complain much about the suspension here. Feels like my Evo did on the JRZs, in my opinion. Very stiff, but linear. Little bit of push in the corners, which I'm used to. Oh. Gearbox is still stiff because this is the first time it's been on track. Well, it's not on fire. That's a good sign.
You feel the heat though?
Woo. Turbo cars get a little warm, huh?
Yeah, they do.
So how'd you go?
It's good. The suspension's, I can't complain about it. Feels like, honestly, feels like the JRZs.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty stiff, but I mean, I think that's a part of the whole Evo experience. It's always like bouncing around a little bit. We could probably dial it out, I think, a tad.
It's a bouncy track, so we could soften things
exactly.
up.
So I think it's honestly, this car feels like it did when I was on the JRZs. Obviously, I've never had the JRZs here.
Yeah.
So I can't have an apples to apples comparison, but at Buttonwillow in California, it does feel just like that, where the bouncy parts, the car's kind of doing this. But that's a whole all-wheel drive system too, right? It's a whole different experience driving this car. I will say, man, it is fast, and you got to get on the brakes hard to slow this thing down. I forgot how heavy this vehicle is.
It's a rocket ship, huh?
Oh yeah.
And how was the balance, like the handling balance?
It's good. It's got a little bit of push in the corner.
Okay.
Drive thing. And but otherwise, man, once you get it set, you can pull out of the corner. It pulls real good.
So are you done, or are you gonna try another session?
I don't know. It was making a weird noise, wasn't it?
I don't know. I couldn't hear anything, but Peter, what are you doing, buddy? You run out of turbo boost?
Yeah, my
turbo
juice is on minimum.
Yes.
And it's causing problems. You've got some nasty power steering noises being made when you're out on track because it's airing the system, because I don't have enough power steering fluid. Who checks power steering fluid? Who does that, Dave?
Not me.
Apparently not me either. So yeah, I think we're gonna have to call it for this episode. We are done. I'm impressed with the suspension. What can I say? It's great on the street, and the very little track time that I just had, it feels good. No complaints. And go subscribe to our channel. If you haven't done that yet, hit the like button and all that fun stuff. Find the new Speed Academy swag on our e-store. and we'll all be happy